Let me tell you something about men that most people misunderstand from the very beginning. A man does not open up easily. He is trained by life, by society, by experience to hold everything in, to act like nothing shakes him, like nothing hurts him, like nothing gets under his skin. So when a man decides to share something real with you, I don't mean small talk, I don't mean jokes, I mean something personal, something deep, something he normally keeps locked away, you need to understand what that moment actually represents. Ladies and gentlemen, when a man opens up about his deepest fears and insecurities, you are not dealing with casual conversation anymore. You are dealing with trust at a level most people never reach with him. Because you have to understand something about how men are built emotionally. A man is not naturally expressive about what scares him. He is not trained to sit around and say, this is what I'm afraid of, or this is what keeps me up at night, or this is where I feel uncertain about myself. No, most men are raised to believe that showing fear is the same as showing weakness. And showing weakness is something the world will use against them. So what do? They hide it. They bury it. They turn it into silence. They turn it into work. They turn it into distraction. They turn it into anything except conversation. So when a man decides out of his own choice to sit in front of you and reveal something that makes him vulnerable, you are witnessing a moment that did not happen by accident. It is not casual. It is not random. It's not something he does because he has nothing else to talk about. It is something he does because he has decided, consciously or unconsciously, that you are different from everybody else he knows. Now let me break this down for you in real terms. A man does not give you his fears first. He tests you first. He watches how you speak about other people's weaknesses. He watches how you react when someone else is vulnerable. He watches if you are judgmental, if you are dismissive, if you are mocking people behind their back. He is collecting data on you without telling you he is collecting data. And while you think you are just having normal conversations, he is asking himself, is she safe? Is she emotionally safe for me? Because safety for a man is not just physical, it is emotional. He can be around attractive people, successful people, even influential people, but if he does not feel emotionally safe, he will never open up. Never. He will stay guarded. He will stay surface level. He will joke, he will talk, he will laugh, but he will never go deep. So when he finally gets to the point where he starts talking about something that scares him, maybe failure, maybe rejection, maybe past trauma, maybe something he's struggling with internally, that is not him trying to impress you. That is him letting you into a space he normally protects with silence. And let me tell you something powerful about that moment. When a man shares his fear with you, he is not looking for you to fix it. That's where people get it wrong. He is not saying, solve me. He is not saying, rescue me. He is not saying, carry this burden for me. What he is saying without saying it is, can I be this real with you and still be respected by you? Because respect is everything to a man. You can love him and lose him if he feels disrespected. You can care for him and still push him away if he feels judged. But if he feels respected in his vulnerability, that is when something deeper starts to form. That is when he starts to associate your presence with peace instead of pressure. And here is where it gets even deeper. When a man shares his fears, he is not just revealing what he is afraid of, but rather sharing his own experiences and emotions with the listener. He is revealing that he trusts you with information that could change how you see him. Think about that. He is willing to risk your perception of him. He is willing to let you see a version of him that is not strong, not polished, not perfect. And he is doing that because in his mind, the connection you have built is more important than the image he is trying to protect. That is not something men do lightly. Because once a man gives you that kind of access, he cannot take it back. You cannot unhear what he told you. You cannot unknow what he showed you. So he is choosing carefully. If I say this, will she understand me or will she use it against me later? And this is why this moment matters so much. Because when he opens up like that and you respond with understanding instead of judgment, with patience instead of criticism, with calm instead of chaos, something shifts inside him. He starts to relax in your presence. He starts to lower his guard around you. He starts to feel like he do. Ants not have to perform strength every second. And a man who feels safe enough to stop performing is a man who starts to connect deeply. But if you mishandle that moment, if you laugh at him, if you dismiss him, if you turn his vulnerability into a joke or a weapon, you don't just lose the moment, you lose the trust that made the moment possible. And rebuilding that trust is not easy for a man. In most cases, he will simply go back to being silent again, even if he stays physically present. So understand this clearly. When a man shares his fears with you, he is not just talking. He is making a decision that says, I believe you are not like the rest, I believe you can hold this without breaking it. I believe I can be myself around you without being judged for it. And in the world of men, that is one of the highest forms of trust you will ever receive. Ladies and gentlemen, when a man shares his past pain or emotional wounds with you, you are stepping into territory that he has carefully guarded for years, sometimes even decades. Because a man's past pain is not something he casually discusses. It is not something he brings up to make conversation interesting. It is not something he tells people just to fill silence. A man's emotional wounds are stored in places he rarely visits, because every time he goes back there mentally, he remembers exactly what it cost him to survive it. And you have to understand this clearly. Men are not built to express emotional pain the same way easily. Most men are taught from a young age to move on, shake it off, be strong, don't cry, don't talk about it. So what happens? They learn how to function with pain instead of expressing it. They learn how to live around it instead of through it. They learn how to build a life on top of emotional wounds without ever opening them up. So when a man finally decides to tell you about something that hurt him in the past, something that changed him, something that made him colder, more guarded, more careful, that is not a small moment. That is not random storytelling. That is not him trying to fill a gap in conversation. That is him letting you see the parts of his story that shaped who he is today. And let me break this down for you in real human terms. Every man has a before and an after. Before the heartbreak, before the betrayal, before the disappointment, and before the moment someone he trusted proved him wrong. And after that moment, something in him shifts. He doesn't always talk about it, but he carries it. He carries it in how he trusts people. He carries it in how quickly he pulls back. He carries it in how slowly he opens up. So when he tells you about that before and after, when he opens up about the pain that changed him, he is not just giving you information. He is giving you access to the foundation of his emotional behavior. Now, here is what most people don't realize. A man does not share his past pain with someone he doesn't feel safe with. He will keep you in the present. He will keep you in jokes. He will keep you in surface-level conversations. But he will not take you into his emotional history unless something in him believes, she can handle this without judging me. Because for a man, being judged for his past pain feels like being hurt all over again. If he opens up about what broke him and you respond with criticism, sarcasm, disbelief, or dismissal, he doesn't just feel rejected in the moment, he feels re-injured. And men don't easily reopen wounds that someone else has just stepped on. So when he shares, it with you, he is asking a silent question at the same time. He is asking, can I be seen in my weakest moments and still be accepted by you? That is the real question behind his story. And understand this, when a man talks about his emotional wounds, he is not trying to look deep. He is not trying to look sensitive. He is not trying to impress you with vulnerability. He's trying to see if you can handle the truth of him. Because every man knows something very important. If you only like the version of him that is strong, funny, confident, put together, then you do not really know him. You only know the mask. But when he shows you the wounds behind the mask, when he tells you about the betrayal that made him stop trusting easily, or the relationship that changed how he loves, or the disappointment that made him emotionally distant, he is showing you the architecture of his behavior. He is saying, this is why I am the way I am, and that is not casual. That is intimate. Because now you are not just dealing with how he acts, you are dealing with why he acts that way. You are not just seeing his personality, you are seeing the experiences that built it. And here is where the emotional depth really comes in. When a man shares his past pain with you and you respond with understanding, something subtle but powerful happens inside him. He starts to associate you with emotional relief instead of emotional pressure. He starts to feel like he does not have to hide his history around you. He starts to feel like he can breathe without pretending. But if he shares it and you respond with judgment, comparison, or disbelief, something else happens. He closes a door. Not always loudly, not always dramatically, but quietly. And once that door closes, you may still have access to his time, but you lose access to his depth. Because a man remembers how you handle his pain. He remembers if you minimized it. He remembers if you made him feel foolish for trusting you with it. He remembers if you treated his vulnerability like entertainment instead of understanding. So when a man shares his emotional wounds, understand what is really happening. He is not just telling you what happened in his past. He is testing whether his past can safely exist in your presence. And if you pass that test, if you show him that you can hold his story without using it against him, and without dismissing it, without reducing it, then something rare begins to develop. He starts to trust you not just with his present, but with the parts of him he normally keeps buried. And that kind of trust, ladies and gentlemen, is not built on attraction alone. It is built on emotional safety, understanding, and the ability to handle a man's truth without breaking it. Ladies and gentlemen, when a man talks about his dreams, his future plans, and he starts including you in them, you are not just hearing conversation anymore, you are hearing intention forming in real time. Because a man does not casually place people inside his future. He does not randomly say we when he doesn't see something there. Men are very intentional when it comes to what they mentally build ahead of them. They may joke in the present, they may be relaxed in the moment, but when they start speaking about tomorrow, next year, or the life they are trying to create, that is when the truth of his mindset comes out. You see, a man can enjoy your presence today without seeing you in his tomorrow. That's something a lot of people misunderstand. Just because he laughs with you, just because he spends time with you, just because he enjoys your company does not automatically mean he has mentally placed you in his long-term vision. But when a man starts speaking about his future and naturally, without force, without pressure, without being asked, he starts including you in those plans, something important is happening inside him. He is no longer just living in the moment with you. He is starting to project you into what he is building. And let me break this down so you really understand the weight of it. A man's future is not just imagination. It is construction. In his mind, he is building something. He is thinking about where he wants to be financially, where he wants to be emotionally, what kind of lifestyle he wants, what kind of peace he wants, what kind of stability he is chasing. And while he is building that picture, he is constantly filtering people in and out of it. Some people only exist in his present. Some people exist in his memory, but only a very small number ever make it into his future thoughts. So when he starts saying things like when we move, when we travel, when we build, when we get there, he is not just using words casually. He is revealing alignment. He is showing you that in his mental blueprint, you are not standing outside the plan, you are inside it. Now here's what makes this even deeper. A man does not include someone in his future unless that person feels stable in his emotional and mental space. Because instability is something men avoid when they are planning ahead. If he feels confusion, drama, inconsistency, or emotional chaos, he will not project that person into his long-term vision. He will keep them in the present, or he will keep them at a distance. But when he feels calm with you, when he feels understood, when he feels like your presence adds peace instead of pressure, that is when his mind starts to relax enough to imagine you beyond today. And this is where many people misinterpret things. They think future talk is just sweet words. They think it's just romance. They think it's just a man being emotional in the moment. But no, for a man, future talk is mental rehearsal. He is testing how the idea feels. He is seeing if it fits. He is checking if the picture still looks right when you are in it. Because men do not build futures they don't believe in. They don't invest mental energy into something they don't see value in long term. So when he starts placing you in that vision, it is because something in him has already accepted your presence as part of his direction. And let me take it deeper for you. When a man includes you in his future, he is also revealing how he values your role in his life. He is not just saying you exist there, he is defining what kind of presence you are in that future. Are you peace? Are you partnership? Are you support? Are you stability? Are you growth? Or are you just temporary comfort? Because in his mind, every person has a role. Not everyone is meant to stay. Not everyone is meant to build. Not everyone is meant to grow with him. So when he includes you in conversations about the life he is trying to create, he is quietly assigning you a place in that structure. And here is something powerful you need to understand. A man does not always announce when he has chosen someone for his future. He reveals this slowly through consistency in how he speaks. He stops saying I all the time and starts saying we. He stops imagining alone and starts imagining shared experiences. He stops separating his life from yours in conversation. And the more natural it becomes, the more real it is to him. But also understand this very clearly. Just because a man includes you in his future talk does not mean he is fully decided yet. It means you are under consideration in a serious way. It means you are in his mental draft. And drafts can become final plans, but they can also change if the energy, consistency, or emotional alignment shifts. That is why men pay attention to behavior over time. They are watching if what they imagine with you in conversation matches what they experience with you in reality. Because if there is a disconnect between the future he is imagining and the present he is living, he will reassess that vision quietly. So when a man starts talking about dreams and includes you in them, it is not just romance, it is evaluation. It is imagination meeting reality. It is possible being tested. And when it feels right to him, when it aligns, when it brings him peace instead of confusion, that is when you stop being just someone in his present and start becoming someone in his direction. Ladies and gentlemen, when a man starts communicating his weaknesses instead of pretending to be perfect, you are witnessing something others often never get access to in a man's life. Because from the outside, men are taught to appear strong, composed, controlled, and unaffected. The world rewards a man for looking like he has everything together, even when he doesn't. So over time, most men develop what you could call a performance mode. They know how to show strength even when they feel weak. They know how to smile even when they are stressed. They know how to carry responsibility without showing the weight of it. But behind all of that, there is still a human being who gets tired of performing. So when a man stops performing for you, when he starts dropping the mask, when he starts admitting things like, I don't know, I struggle with this, I'm not good at that, or I'm trying, but it's hard, you are not just hearing honesty. You are witnessing emotional release. Because perfection is exhausting to maintain, and vulnerability is something men only allow in spaces where they feel they won't be reduced because of it. Now listen carefully, because this is where most people misunderstand men completely. A man does not show his weaknesses because he wants pity. He does not show his weaknesses because he wants TS to look soft or dependent. He shows them because he wants to be real without losing respect in the process. That balance is extremely important to him. He is constantly asking himself, even if silently, if I show her this part of me, will she still see me the same way? Because for a man, respect is not optional. It is foundational. He can handle disagreement. He can handle correction. He can even handle distance. But what he struggles with most is being seen as less because of his vulnerability. That is why he is selective about who gets to see his unfiltered truth. So when he communicates his weaknesses to you, he is doing something very intentional. He is testing emotional safety. He is checking if your presence allows him to be human instead of constantly being strong. He is asking without words, can I take my guard down around you without losing my value in your eyes? And understand this clearly, men do not lower their guard easily, because every time they have done that in the past with the wrong person, it has cost them something. Maybe it was judgment. Maybe it was betrayal. Maybe it was being used against them later in an argument. Maybe it was being seen differently. TLY after being vulnerable, so they learn. They adapt. They protect. But when a man feels safe, he starts to open up in ways that surprise even him. He starts to admit things he normally hides. He starts to speak more honestly about where he is struggling, where he is not confident, where he feels pressure. And this is not weakness in the way people assume it is. This is trust in action. Because a man will never expose his weak points in an environment he considers unsafe. Never. And here's where the emotional depth really shows itself. When a man shares his weaknesses with you, he is not asking you to fix him. He is not handing you responsibility for his life. He is not saying, take this burden from me. What he is really saying is, I trust you enough to let you see the part of me I normally hide from the world. That is a very specific kind of trust. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is not something he announces. It is something he reveals slowly, carefully, sometimes almost unintentionally. And the way you respond in that moment matters more than people realize. If you respond with understanding, with patience, with calm presence, you reinforce safety in his mind. He starts to associate you with peace instead of pressure. He starts to feel like he can be himself without constantly editing his personality. But if that moment is mishandled, if his weakness is mocked, compared, exposed, or used as a joke, something closes inside him. Not immediately in a loud, dramatic way, but quietly. He pulls that part of himself back. He becomes more guarded. He returns to performance mode. And next time he will not share as easily. Because men remember emotional consequences very clearly. They may not always express it, but they store it. They remember who made him feel safe and who made him regret opening up. Now here's something deeper. When a man shows you his weaknesses consistently, not just once, not accidentally, but repeatedly over time, it means you are becoming part of his emotional comfort zone. It means he no longer feels the need to maintain a perfect image around you. It means your presence is no longer triggering performance, but allowing authenticity. And that is rare, because most people only ever see a man's control version, the version he presents to the world, the version he believes is acceptable. But when he starts showing you the unedited version, the version that says, I am trying, I am not perfect, I have flaws, that is, when you are seeing the real person behind the structure he built to survive life, and if you pay attention closely, you will notice something else. A man only stays emotionally open with someone who does not make him regret being open. That is the real test. Not whether he speaks once, but whether he continues speaking. Not whether he reveals something once, but whether he keeps trusting you with more. Because in the end, when a man communicates his weaknesses to you, he is not just telling you about himself. He is showing you how safe he feels in your presence.